So let's see, has Russia sorted out any of its trade? Nope. Wasting so many factories on this as well. Like, they're getting their trades from China, but not from Britain, France, or Japan. Though I guess these countries are still getting their factories. 73 convoys. Russia is well and truly being starved here in a manner which shouldn't be possible in Russia. Meanwhile, Japan is getting an astonishing number of convoys. I think all of their dockyards are just building convoys, so they just replace what they lose. I mean, it's, I guess, a strategy. Meanwhile, the naval invasion of Jaunty Java has basically stalled. Not entirely sure why, because this guy could still be moving. And clearly Japan hasn't really been doing anything to try and retake this stuff. How's Australasia's subs doing? Oh wow, they've come back in a big way. Oh hell yes, Australasia. The blockade has begun. Go Australasia. Okay, this is the moment where Co-Pro start to seriously falter. Because what they're doing now is stopping the flow of fuel to Japan. Especially if they take the Indonesian islands back again. And once Japan is out of fuel, they are the air controller. That is a very, very big problem for them. And yes, they have 700 convoys, but they ain't gonna last forever. Not with that many tier 3 submarines out and about. And not when they don't believe in escorts. Like, they just don't convoy escort. This is actually a really big deal. That many submarines are going to be crippling. Especially with those traits. Thank you! Thank you, Australasia. Thank you. Oh, thank you. Alright, prove me right. Please prove me right. I need to be proven right on this. Oh! Germany, Germany, Germany! Big attack against the French at the moment. France, seriously low in organisation. Those British units, as always, really, really weak. We do have the French, I think, trying to counterattack. We do have a couple of Austrian tanks here. Currently faltering a little bit. Like, they need to be careful that they don't overextend. And they really need the Germans to come in. It's actually a problem right now. I think the fact that Germany has no front line set up. Because if they had the front line set up, they would have troops automatically filtering in to support this. They are doing it manually, but this is going to take both players, like, full focus. Because there are a lot of opportunities here for cut-offs. The French heavy tanks are being pulled back. We do have Austrian motorized stepping in to regain some of the territories there. And this is a big deal, because this is another opening. They've kind of busted through one of the gaps in the rivers here. Potentially going down to Lyon, potentially going to Orléans, and most importantly, potentially cutting off Paris from behind. This is actually a very, very big deal. We have Austrian tanks! Why are you going backwards? That way! Paris is that way! Oh, that way. I forget my camera is mirrored. Go that way! I think they're worried about being cut off here, rightfully so, although taking Dijon is going to help. But Germany's just not reacting quickly enough because they don't have the front line set up. Ah! Hey, Germany got off their schnitzel, yeah. Alright, I need some tea. That's a year of fuel, though. At current import levels, Effa. At current import levels. Reims is empty. That's going to be another cut-off here, going towards Charleroi, and that's up to 3 heavy tanks, which could also be removed. The Reichspakt is finally coming to life. This is when I'd like to see another Ukrainian airborne attack. They still control Baku. Crikey, these guys have proven to be tough. Oh, brilliant. Meanwhile, the Syria's been capitulated to whom? India. Syria belonged to which nation? Entente. No, Reichspakt? Is the Entente at war with the Reichspakt now? No. Yes. Yes, they are. I missed that. When the hell did that happen? Okay, so apparently the Entente is now at war with the Reichspakt, and we do see nimble French units punching up towards Antep, trying to, I guess, undercut into Anatolia. So Reichspakt is now at war with all three factions. Which is probably one of the reasons they're going, maybe we should knock out Third International at last. So we now have 6 French heavy tank divisions trying to repel the attacks into France. Austrian tanks still attacking down here in the south. We have another 2 heavy French tank divisions. Another one down here. They're up to 7. So yeah, France has just been kind of let to just build up their units again. The fact that the Reichspakt didn't kill them while they were down is gonna bite them. Meanwhile, the Russians... Wait, where are the Bulgarians gone? What am I missing? Oh, Russia's been cut off by Ukraine and Austria again. So that's going to be bad for them. Where the hell is the garrison here? This is a problem. I wonder if they haven't noticed. Because that's where their chromium is coming from. Like, the entire strategy of the Reichspakt crumbles if they lose Anatolia. And they're already low on chromium, despite the amount that they're producing. Okay, here come all the AI allies to try and plug the gap. I think that this war has been a relatively recent thing. And also, ooh, that's a hefty cutoff. See, this is why you don't want to manually do everything. And why front lines are so freaking important, because it just lets the AI do it for themselves. And I assume what's happening is Germany is so focused on what's going on here that they just don't have the mental bandwidth to lead these guys, although these guys are currently under Bulgarian control. So it's Bulgaria that's been caught snoozing here, because all of these Austrians are also Bulgarian. So what has happened to Bulgaria? Oh no, this is a disaster. And yeah, now we have the Americans exploding onto the scene. So let's go and switch over to the American perspective, because we can see that this is mostly an American offensive with the French. So a combined American heavy tank and French motorized. And as I said earlier, French motorized are mean, especially if they're using the light tanks, are they? No, it's just literally just motorized. But these guys are going to be moving incredibly quickly. They have Patton as a general? Okay. I guess they want the tank bonuses. Although they have been investing in a whole bunch of field marshal stuff. Which is not going to do anything. With the exception of the offensive doctrine, it does give you that +1 attack still. That's not removed. Which is why sometimes you will see players making generals into a field marshal and then give them offensive doctrine just for that +1. Okay, so we have some Austrian tanks here, but Bulgaria still has not responded to this. And the AI units are being AI units and fumbling. We've got Bulgarian lines being drawn back here as if they don't think they can defend Turkey. This is basically being written off. This was the Entente... Sorry, this was the Reichspakt game to lose. And they're making a damn good attempt for it. Has Bulgaria just gone AFK? Dude, wakey wakey. You're needed. The fact that they haven't even drawn a front line or anything here yet. Two Austrian heavies. Surrounded. Not to mention all of this. Like, all of the effort from the Ukraine to grab the Baku oil fields is just being undone at this point. Meanwhile, the offensive against France has basically ceased, I guess because they're having to scramble to come up with a an answer to this. But I'm still not seeing it. It really does look like they're just going, okay, we're going to give you Turkey. The Americans really love making a big entrance. I mean, they certainly are. Arguably, this is more because of the French motorized, because they're just so much quicker. They can take so much of this territory before there's any reaction, but oof, that's a huge blow. Like Austria, probably already short on chromium, though they actually seem to be doing a better job of handling that. And they're importing a heck of a lot from Bulgaria, but Bulgaria is going to lose half of their chromium production. And Bulgaria themselves are short already. And they can't buy it from anybody else. Probably because they're on free trade. Yeah, Bulgaria needs Dunkirk. The problem is they don't control Batum. There is no port here. This army is dead. It's gone. And if I was Bulgaria's allies right now, I would be screaming blue murder at him. What a humongous fumble. Let's make sure we're not missing any other humongous fumbles. No. Okay, so India has also started attacking Middle Africa, which is going to be the Reichspakt rubber supplies. Because they've let everything else fall. And the Entente stole the rubber supply from Ceylon from Japan. Oh! Siam! No, Canada. Canada's actually doing escort duty. Saving the transports in this area. Creative Siam had it again, bearing in mind that this Siam player was the same as Italy in the game last week, and we were impressed with Italy's creative plays. Like, Ukraine this time is how Italy was playing last time, basically. Same level. So it looks like the Russian offensive against Ukraine is more or less stymied, but this, they've still not reacted to it. And I don't know why. I don't know why. Is Bulgaria just not asking for help? Oh, no, they're moving. They're finally moving away from Turkey. What an absolute disaster. I think Bulgaria is in full panic mode at the moment. They've gone, oh boy! Meanwhile, France is making another... You're never going to believe this, but France is making a play for Belgium. Or maybe this is... No, this is probably just the remnants from that previous attack. Yeah, I was being unfair there. France would never attack Belgium, not that way. India is not doing much. They've backed off. Meanwhile, the American forces are clearing up in North Africa. Yeah, the Americans are definitely arriving. Although they're also taking a bucket load of attrition. Are they training in the African desert? That seems like a bad idea to me. Yes, they are. And how much attrition are you taking from this? Only 6%. Even though you're training in the Sahara. How is that only 6%? Does training attrition, like, overwrite regular attrition? Because that's what it looks like. So they've decided to cede Anatolia. That's not a great choice. Yeah, basically. I can't believe how quickly this has turned around. Blimey. Oh, and is Russia coming in behind the Entente? It looks like they're gearing up for that. Although part of it is also just Russia killing the last of the German behemoth units. And Sweden held. Or rather, Austria held in Sweden. Union of Britain submarines going after somebody's convoys. There's quite a few of them. Astonishing. Absolutely astonishing. Most dedicated player can go to France. Yeah. That's some hardcore training. It really is, isn't it? At this point, France should be trying paratroopers, naval invasions, anything but slamming heavies into heavies. Yeah, France has definitely shown a definite lack of creativity, which I think is harming them. So I'm curious to see what the Entente does now. What is the scores? Let's take a quick look. So at the moment we're tied. Reichspakt, Third International and the Entente are all on 4 points. Co-Prosperity is still on just 1. So the Reichspakt were winning it. All they had to do was take Paris and it was over. But they for some reason stopped their attacks. I'm still not entirely sure why. And then Austria just unfortunately being curbed from uniting up with Baku. They were so close. All they needed to do was move that heavy tank and it was over. But I guess their attention, their focus was somewhere else because they missed that opportunity. Had they done that, Co-Pro would be basically done. And then Bulgaria. Bulgaria is, I would say, the one responsible for the biggest whoopsie. Losing the entirety of Turkey. So what's their chromium shortage like now? 140. And that's going to be just as severe, I suspect, for people like Austria. Like, their entire strategy is focused on those heavy tanks, just like the Third International. And now that's all going to the Entente. Absolutely mad. And what about the air situation? Is maybe that what's happened? Let's take a look from Sweden's perspective, actually. Because now they are up against 3 air forces. So yeah, Anatolia is the stage for some pretty huge air battles. They are definitely giving as good as they're getting. Oh no, 18 for 19. I think they're just overwhelmed. 21 to 24, 21 to 17. 23, 24, 16, 17. How's the fuel in Japan? That's a good question, because Australasia's blockade should be kicking in about now. They're down to 80. They're being, I think, lend-leased a lot of fuel. Does it actually say lend-lease fuels from here? Well, they've stopped their navy from doing anything. They're a little bit short, shall we say, on aluminium. Blockade's not really impacting them. Has Australasia stopped? Australasia's blockade stopped. They are now blockading the Mediterranean. Yeah, they're going full on against the Reichspakt. So it kind of feels to me like the Entente and CoPro did sit down and say, we need to stop Reichspakt. And yeah, they're doing that. Japan invaded near Ukraine. No, they didn't. This was already Russian, remember? So Russia has just given some of the captured territories to them, probably because there's aluminium. Yep. It's because of the resources. So it's just the... give control of state. They wanted the resources. Although they're not getting any because of the resistance. Let's go and take a quick look at Japan. Go to their occupied territories. Ukraine. 30% resistance. They should be able to deal with it well enough. Civilian oversight's a little questionable. Because the resistance target and the resistance strength is going to be high. And they'll take more damage because of it. Maybe they think they can absorb it. Meanwhile, lots of battles going on right now in the Mediterranean. I think most of them submarine sinking convoys. Friendly supremacy 3,800. Yeah, Australasia is making a big effort here. Hello.
Hey, Mordred. Sorry, man.
Sorry, man. Okay, thank you. So, do we see any attacks elsewhere? I would really like to see a little bit more of an expansion here. But so far, nothing. So what's this? This is CoPro and Entente. Yeah, this is part of the truce. There's got to be a truce between those two. Which is why Australasia's submarines went away from India. CoPro got lucky with that. India declared war on Garangi. I don't remember who that is. Who are you? Probably one of the minions. It's you. Who are you? Oh, Africa. Middle of. In the Reichspakt. Yeah, I did notice, actually, in the wars that Germany has not been calling in the African miners. Which is something which I would probably... Like, if I came up with a set of rules, I would say that you have got to call in your puppets if you are attacked. Or if you're at war, your puppets are also at war. The fact that you can just say, yeah, I'm not going to bring in Malaya, is definitely cheaty, because they're your territory. Who would Saruman be? Tall guy, long white beard, bit evil. Has a thing for burning forests. Japan's taken Borneo, oh yeah, they took that land already. Yeah, it definitely looks like there's a truce between these two. Because Russia and China have not taken any of this. Despite the fact that India, despite being pinged repeatedly, we saw it, we were looking, have not fortified that frontier at all. And we've also got lots of Indian forces not guarding this. Oh no, that's not true. They are guarding these areas, and they do have orders to hold on to that. And China have got some reserves back here. I think that they are watching and waiting, just out of vision. Interesting. So they are out of fuel, but I don't think that China really cares about fuel. Meanwhile, how's Japan doing for convoys? They've gained a whole bunch again. Meanwhile, Russia is down to 45. So any trades that Russia is attempting to do are just not getting through. Although they've actually stopped most of their trades unless it's overland, which is wise. So Russia has rejigged their trades and their production accordingly. Forests that tend to fight back. Yes, exactly. I like your beginner E4 series. It's so bad I was not in chat for. I always tell people who ask about U4. When a sight impaired reading disabled woman can teach and have 900 in EU4 off of watching YouTube, anyone can learn it. I agree. I absolutely agree with that. EU4 is such a great game. It just looks monstrously scary. And it shouldn't do. How's the situation in France? How indeed is the situation in France? Probably a bit scary. Oh, we're seeing a lot of Russians being sent out. Interesting, interesting. Oh, no, this is the, oh, it's Interlindia, it's an AI. They don't really have any control over that. Unless it's not an AI. Because earlier we saw that Japan had expeditionaried all of these units. And I am now noticing that Japan has un-expeditionaried all of these units. And they can probably quite legitimately turn around to the Entente saying, wasn't us. It was the AI. We didn't take this land. We didn't cut off that unit. That French unit, which definitely cannot afford the casualties anymore. What's the Philippines doing? I haven't looked at the Philippines for a while. They've still got decent manpower. They're only on extensive. They've really lost very little. What is the Philippines doing? I haven't worked that one out. Same with Ireland. They've been very, very quiet. I mean, I get it, they're smaller nations, but their level of losses is still remarkably low. They're not the air controller. Oops, not allowed to look at that one. Please leave my ports alone. Nice name.